This is the Sports Lounge. Welcome to the home of the Sports Lounge.
Welcome to our YouTube channel.
Welcome to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
So click on the subscribe button and let's stay updated with all the happenings, all the interesting conversations in the world of sports.
Good morning and welcome to this special Thanksgiving service. There's a reason I'm tagging it a Thanksgiving service. As you can see, we are properly dressed today and we are going to, for a successful hate watch. A hate watch that was long time coming, and then a club that has gone cupless for a couple of years is going cupless again this season. And then we have their able-bodied representative, my resident pastor, who has also been recently ordained as an elder of this ministry. To my right, my chairman. How are you doing this weekend?
Thank God. There's always next season. They should change that Victoria whatever.
Netflix.
So Evra is a badly behaved man. There's always next season. So we tried our best to give it a shot. It is what it is. Just keep going.
And then to my chairman on the right, who has had a terrible season in the league, but at least he has a chance of winning a trophy or a cup this season and being in the Champions League. Because at the end of the day, what can be the difference between Arsenal and Man U? If Man U win now, then the same Champions League, both of them go end up. So, my brother.
Well, truthfully, right, I don't really subscribe to the same school of thought where everyone says, oh, what's the difference between... Well, Arsenal are, better side and better position where they are right now. But Manchester United, past 3 years, we've been roughing it and we're about to hopefully live with 3 trophies in 3 years. So we are thankful. We are thankful for the opportunities.
Yeah, as I said, it's a Thanksgiving service this morning. So yes, over the week. No, we will not start with you yet. Let's just keep it still boiling in the pot. But over the week, we had a cracker of a match. I think even Henry was saying it that he had been bored of football for a while. But that Barca Inter match was do I call it a wall-up? Like, that game was a goal feast of tabernacle. Let me use that word like that. So how did you actually see that game? And where do you think that game was won or lost?
The game was one of the best, besides the World Cup final in 2023. That's one of the best games I've seen in a very, very long time. Maybe, yeah. And then the United Lyon was another game that was up there too. That particular game was a game of just pure resilience versus, like you mentioned when Verma was here, was immovable objects meets the unstoppable force, right? And you could see that in the game. It was back and forth, heavyweight clubs dropping punches, dropping heavy hits, and it was just who would last the longest, whose mind was the most strong, and who was physically conditioned to go the extra mile to make it happen for their team. And as we can see, it was Inter Milan. Playing with injuries, everybody had to do what they had to do, and at the end of the day, they came up with the win.
So, based on what he just said, and there was a bit of like an argument I was having with him earlier. Like, a lot of people tag that match as experience versus youthfulness. And I asked myself the question, can experience be something quantified? Because I hear people say this a lot in football, in basketball, about how experience of the players and everything. Can it be quantified? Would you say that was actually what also happened within this game?
Yeah, so I think even for the managers, it was more or less somebody who had adapted his game a lot versus somebody who has not adapted his game a lot. So Flick knows how to manage his players well, but it doesn't necessarily change how his team plays. But Inzaghi can always find a way to do something. So the experience was not just only on the pitch, it was also in the dugout. And we should not forget that Inter had another set of 11. It was proper squad depth at that level. I think their subs were Fratesi, Zielinski, Stefan De Vrij, Damian, Taremi. All these players are experienced European professionals. These are guys who have played in Europe for a very, very long time. So, to be honest, you see the likes of Yamal and co. It's new beginnings. You can't be upset. See the penalty, Kubasi on Lautaro was just something minor. Lautaro trying to just shoot the ball, he knew that Kubasi was coming and got the penalty off him. So they will learn. I think Barca was, for me, the best team in the Champions League. But you don't, on the day, you have to be the better team. and Inter was the better team on the day. We spoke about how Inter was going to break down Barcelona here. I particularly have been speaking about it. I've been getting so much hate from Barca fans, literally my IG with now you know pass. But then we saw it again. The same thing happens. Their fullbacks, there's always spacing behind the fullbacks, and the fullbacks always try to keep their attackers onside. If you try to go against the centre halves, you might have issues. Just take the ball wide against Barcelona. Once you go wide, you come back inside. Literally, almost all the Inter goals came like that. Even the 2 corners in the
Wide, cross,
wide,
yes.
come back inside. So it shows that Inzaghi had studied Barcelona, had seen the weak points. Unfortunately, in the second leg, both Balde and Koundé were out. So it was a lot easier for them to get goals off them. But it was a really cracking. I think it was actually the final, in my opinion.
So do you know the one constant between those 2 games? One guy called Vema supported Barca. And they lost. And then came and supported Arsenal.
Man was on a jinx.
And they lost again.
Jinx
support Man U.
You will not know. He cannot support Man U.
We have banned him from supporting Man U. He can't join Man U.
And so going to the next game, actually, did you actually think like Arsenal could, make the jump and actually win and get into the finals?
Not really. So I was watching the first leg with friends, and Milan now considered the first goal. I told my friends that match will end max 1-1. Or maybe Arsenal will get a goal off set piece or penalties. The Arsenal team is not good at chasing games because their play is so structured, and so they don't know how to let loose. And when you're chasing a tie, you need to be able to let loose. Even if you look at the subs that Teta made, I've been using a word a lot about him being a coward and stuff like that. And we've been saying it. I think Ayobi was here once when we said it. If you cannot take off a centre half and bring him forwards when you are 2 goals down on aggregate, that's a lot more about your risk taking. And if you are risk averse, you will generally not. You can't get anything if you don't take risk. We saw, I think, Arsenal Madrid second leg. We saw Rudiger in Arsenal's box for the last 20 minutes of the game. Inter Barcelona. Was this old man that scored the winner from a striker's position? Araujo almost scored the same thing to equalize in the extra time. Check the Arsenal PSG game at 90 plus. Check where Saliba was standing. Check where Kiwi was standing. Check where Califari was standing. Check where Ben White was standing. At least 3 of them were behind in their own half. So how do you intend? You were pulling crosses and only Saka was in the box. That's how Saka missed that chance and scored. Imagine you had Merino, Califari all in the box. Etienne wide, just loading the ball. How did Daniel Olmo score for Barcelona? You take this risk. Yes, you have a structure. Yes, you have a system. But in games like this, you have to risk it all. You have to risk it all. If you like, take Raya and put him as the 9. Nobody, it is knockout. If you lose 5-0, if you lose 1-0, it changes nothing. Arsenal.
Learning curve.
They'll keep until you win, you keep learning.
Bro.
Until you win, you keep learning. That's how I feel.
The thing with Arteta is, I understand where you're coming from in terms of the coward angle, and maybe when he first joined Arsenal, there was a lot of heavy beatings that they got, so he became very scared and went into his defensive midfielder mind and wants to keep the team very structured. That's why he keeps buying defenders.
What I DM this morning?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is.
I don't know how you buy a DM when you are looking at this kind of thing.
You don't have a winger you're prioritizing a DM for 60 million euros. I don't know. You could put that 60 million euros and buy a striker. Simple. And you need I was telling one of my friends that it's one or two things have to happen for Arsenal to really get to the point where they need to be. You need to prioritize 5 games in a season. It doesn't matter. Leave that marathon of the league. Leave it alone. If it's Carabao Cup, if it's FA Cup, if it's Champions League, prioritize. If you go all the distance in Carabao, it's 4 games. If you go the distance in FA Cup, it's 6 games. Prioritize 5 games and win something. Let the boys know that you can keep your structured play for the league. Finish wherever you want to finish. But you need to start building that hunger for trophies. It's not because you look at Manchester United, for example. In the league, they are playing rubbish because you need some form of consistency to do that. But you see in cup competitions, you have guys that you have a Casemiro, you have Bruno, that guys that know that on the day this particular thing we are going to do, we want to win this game. Bad as the bad, we'll die here, but we'll put in that effort because we've won it before. We've won it back-to-back seasons. They are going to another final with the confidence that when this final comes around, we can go again. We go again mentality. if you put Arsenal behind at the back, push them behind, like back against the wall, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think there's anybody that will grab the game by the scruff of the neck and say, you know what, boys, let's go? There's really no one there. All of them are young. They're all young boys. They're all green. Even their coach too is a bit naive in the way, like even the first 20 minutes when before PSG figured out what Arsenal were trying to do, you were trying to use throwing. Like, why do you have all those talent on the team? And they are trying to use throw-ins to win the game and get rebounds off that. Doesn't make any sense.
So now will lead me to my next question. So are you both saying, and would we say that Arteta might probably not be the person to lead them going forward? You know how sometimes it feels like you need a coach that takes you to another level, and then you might need another person to just take you to the end game or to the end goal. Are we saying that Arteta can't do that, or should he be given a bit more time?
So I think it's all just fine margins. Yeah, he has lost the league twice, fine margins. At least one of them was really fine margins. He can argue that he lost the Champions League fine margins. He can say what he likes, that he lost his attackers, and I'll give all those excuses. It's really fine margins. I think I saw a post on X that said that Betta's arrival might be a good thing for Arsenal, in the sense that he needs check and balance. So he cannot be the one vetting players, buying players. For example, I'll give an example of Klopp. I heard that a lot of the players that Klopp wanted wasn't what he got. They looked at what he wanted to build. And even though I think Salah, I can't remember the player he wanted.
Brandt.
Yeah, Brandt. He said yes. He said he wanted Brandt.
Brandt and
Yes.
Pedro. But they were like, we can't get any of those two because they could not battle with Chelsea. And Brandt was really expensive as at that time. And they were like, but we can get you a Salah who can do a job on the wing. So maybe better signings. For example, I don't like Victor Gyökeres because I think there's some limits to his game. But if Better thinks Victor Gyökeres will work in the system and they bring him and he pops, it's great. It's great for the team. So, but when the coach, it's something that happened similar to ETH. When the coach is picking the players, is buying the players, is running the team. It's not football now is a lot more dynamic than it used to be when you just go and pick players, please, and put them on the pitch.
This is the Sports Lounge. Welcome to the home of the Sports Lounge.
Welcome to our YouTube channel.
Welcome to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
So click on the subscribe button and let's stay updated with all the happenings, all the interesting conversations in the world of sports.
So it's highly possible that if that load is taken off him, let him just focus on delivering with the goods he's given. I was telling someone yesterday, I think he's a really good coach. He's intelligent. You cannot fault that he's intelligent. But sometimes, even if you're intelligent, you need somebody to check you.
You need some oversight.
Yeah, you need some oversight. That's it. You need someone to check you. And so let's hope that.
Are you of the same sentiment?
Yeah, I wouldn't say. First of all, I like being realistic, right, in every situation. I need Arsenal fans to be realistic with themselves, and it starts from the coach downwards. You can't go out in the press and start saying we're the best team for 160 minutes. Like, it doesn't make any sense, right? And if the coach is saying that it's bleeding down into the players, and it's bleeding down into every single facet of the team and how they operate, right? You have to be able to hold yourselves accountable and know that, okay. And then I see some fans online on their different podcasts say, who bought this, who bought that. They keep buying. Okay, let's look at your numbers. You guys have spent north of now, it's going almost 900 million pounds over the past 5-6 years. You don't have a recognizable attack. Like, everybody's cussing Martinelli day in and day out. Trossard, Sterling, Gabriel Jesus, all those guys. You need to, at some point in time, you need to say, okay, forget all these things I'm trying to do. Let's go and win. Even Pep, with all his tiki-taka and everything that he brought, Pep said, you know what, get me Haaland, I beg. Let me score. Let me just score. Forget what they are doing. Forget all those. Pep has gone back to basics. All those, before, he used to rotating wingers. Just get me Doku. Get me this guy. Get me Savio. Just play wide. At some point in time, they are going to have to get back to basics. And I'm happy football is coming back around and they are going back to the basics. For Arsenal, I don't think they should sack him yet, but he needs to get real with himself. He can't keep living in La La Land or wherever his head is at. Get real with yourself. This thing I'm doing, does it make sense? This thing I'm saying, does it make sense? Do I need to switch something? Do I need to change something? Do I need to make some adjustments? Even like in basketball, you make adjustments as you go. If not, you're going to lose.
So, since you are the Arsenal fan here, I'll just ask this last question before we move on. Would a second place finish next season and like an FA Cup actually be a successful season for you? Because I know you've been on this train of it's either the Champions League or the Premier League.
So right now, personally, I think you should go. So and I say that because I'm fed up. Not necessarily because I don't like him or whatnot, but I'm just fed up of being a nearly man. So everybody knows I love him, but I'm just fed up of being a nearly man. But then I'll take into consideration the fact that we are still not sure if there was no money to buy players in January or if it was his choice. There's that
we don't know the
there's
full
that
picture of
there's
what's
that
going
conundrum.
on.
So that's why I said with the arrival of Beta, I'm willing to watch a game for another season. I'm not taking the FA Cup. I'm not taking Carabao. God forbid. If he doesn't win the Champions League or doesn't win the league, he should get out.
So the problem with our statement, is, and that's why I said last time you need to prioritize. You need to build up your mentality in terms of winning or going the distance. Let's look at all the teams that have ever been successful. It's one thing that always causes it's catalyst, right? Manchester United back in Fergie, after the back-to-back bad seasons, it was the FA Cup. That was the spark. Then they went on again. Man City, their recent success, it was the FA Cup. Win the FA Cup. When Pep came, even Pep couldn't win league in his first season. What was the first thing he won? He won Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
Then he went up FA Cup. Then he went FA Cup, Carabao Cup, Premier League. Right? So you need to build your hunger.
Should I shock you?
With
Klopp did the direct opposite. Klopp's first trophy for Liverpool was the Champions League. His next trophy was the league. Before he now won the FA Cup.
What did Klopp do in his first season?
He was
with
running
those
up,
guys.
He was running up in.
He got to the final of the Europa
League, yeah.
Right? The next season, that was when he won the. I think he got to. Got Champions League. Got to a.
Is that not where he won itself?
No. It wasn't the next
was
season.
the
I
third
think it
one.
was the third season
season
that he won.
Champions League. Right? But that was a building process.
So like semi-final now, semi-final of Europa before.
But his point is you need a catalyst.
You need a catalyst.
He
So
got
for
to
me-
Are you saying
finals.
the league cannot be your catalyst?
No, so what I'm
Champions
saying,
League is a.
so what I'm
is a-
saying in
is a-
essence is the catalyst of FA Cup should have been that FA Cup in 2020. Wait,
understandable.
if you're going
right?
to win another FA Cup, it should have been 2 years ago. 3 years of finishing second. FA Cup is not a catalyst. That second has become a catalyst on its own in the sense that you can't finish second 3 times. They might not even finish second this one. Let's dabble into that.
If you finish
Let's
second
be
by.
honest.
They might not finish second in this one.
Let's do it
So-
like this, right? The
so-
first, let's say last season when you lost the league by what, 3 points or 4 points, that could have been a catalyst. But
Should have been.
Nobody expected Man City to fall apart, right? And then your coach
And then
went.
nobody expected Liverpool to actually still be
Everybody
this
expected Liverpool to maybe take a step back because
but
new
be in the
coach.
top 4.
No, but
not
the point
winning
is,
the league.
Liverpool maintained similar points. Arsenal and City dropped massively, and Arsenal too crashed.
How did they? You finished second.
Anyway.
No, like I'm saying, the number of points.
The number of points.
Like, Liverpool seem like they have similar to what they did last season. It's what they did again.
Similar numbers. Yeah.
Similar numbers. What they
It's
did
just that
again.
the level of competition has reduced.
Every other person fell. So me, I just think that they've finished second so much that taking an FA Cup and
Doesn't
keeping
act
him
as a
does not.
catalyst.
At this
get
point,
your
Thing
point.
is, you need. I get what you're saying, but you need that taste for
point.
winning. Those guys, none of them.
Anyways,
Let's
let's move away from a team that has gone trophyless again to a team that has been doing poorly in the league, but looking like
now losers.
now look. So I now you're saying it. You're going to where I'm going to. I want to understand what is the anger with people saying that both Spurs and Man U do not deserve a position in the Champions League.
Jealousy.
So-
Because I don't
No.
get it.
It's jealousy.
We've seen like there was this thing I was listening to the other day, and then they said there was a year Sevilla won it and they were 11th. Or the year
Sevilla
before
was
that,
Sevilla was the
you
reason
had
why they
teams
started-
that
no,
you had
Sevilla
teams that
wasn't the reason.
Sevilla
Yeah.
they won it 3 years or so now.
so
But
but
Sevilla won it 3 years in a row, but they already instituted that rule of Champions League. They instituted it in 2013.
Yeah.
So but the point is you have teams that have won it and haven't done so well in their respective leagues and have gone to the Champions League the next season, and we had no outcry. In short, in some cases it felt like these guys were celebrated for their European success. So why is it a problem now? Why are people shouting that both Spurs and Manchester United don't deserve it?
So for me, my own point of view, I'm not speaking for everybody. I have never been in support of the existence of those other. I've said it here countless times. I've never been in support of the existence of those other trophies, and I'll tell you why. I think everything should have a prerequisite here. I was listening to Gary Lineker saying that in his time, only the champion went to Champions League. So he got to play in Champions League, I think, just once because Everton were champions the year before he joined. So that's Gary Lineker got to play in Champions League. That's the Gary Lineker, just once. Because when he went to Barcelona, they did win the league. Like, for me, it is the exclusivity of you have killed your league and then you are going on to... I think that championship, the winners of the championship get into the Premier League. The winners of the Premier League or the top teams in the Premier League get into the Champions League. The winner of the Champions League gets into the Club World Cup. That is the trajectory it should be. There should not be backdoors for people to now tank in the league because of, that if you win 5-6 games. Yes, so that's my point of view. Like, and I like what they do in Belgium. If you tank in the league, you might relegate because half season they have a way of dividing your points by 2, and then all of you now either start again. They have a very funny system. All of you start again. If Man U and Tottenham were in the Belgian league, why they have relegated? So to show you that they're trying to... It's the same thing with... We're discussing about the play-ins in NBA. Because they don't want people to start dumping towards the end of the season. Because let me just manage and try to pick position so that I can get to the playoffs without stressing my players. The play-ins were created. So if you mistakenly try to dump, you feel end up... Especially day 9th, if you end up climbing you and stuff like that. So that's my own mentality. That it's so bad that I'm seeing Fredrickson and Mas and these boys taking a walloping from Brentford because United want to use a backdoor to get to Champions League. It doesn't. So It's not illegal, but for the Premier League, it's terrible.
Do you hold on to the same?
No. So sorry to Gary Lineker, whatever his name is. When back in the days, they didn't used to make that much money in football.
It's about the money.
Yeah, so it's an economic. I don't know why guys have their heads in the clouds. It's an economic decision to make money. If you don't make enough money, your club cannot spend 100 million on Declan Rice. They can't buy Pogba for 89 million. They can't pay all these absorbent salaries for all these guys. That's how you make your money. TV rights and all the other things that they do for and advertisements,
sponsors, and all that.
People want to watch games. Do you know how useless the UEFA Cup was when there was no incentive to it? Niggas didn't even used to care about it. It was mostly just. I remember when one time Fulham and Atletico Madrid played in the final. Like, who even remembers?
Fergie went there once and dumped out now.
Fergie didn't care because like
12 for 13.
what is my incentive?
I can't remember. Fergie went there and came out.
Now there is an incentive, right? People want to watch these games. People want to watch more football. People want to watch the best teams in the best this thing. You want to watch. Winner of league to just go. I pity you, Europa and Club World Cup people that of you. You think the winners are collecting 150 million because of the proposed thing they are doing? You will suffer. You will. I pity you.
I'm all for football. Not for money.
Can there be a balance?
See Chelsea playing against Guardian of Ikoyi.
Bro, Chelsea are going to play against a Yimba Warriors if need be, and they will get their money in return. That's the reality that we are in. I'm not about plenty games, but we also have to be realistic, right? Wenger that wanted to bring World Cup every 2 years because of money is telling me, man, you shouldn't get. Is he whining me? Has he become senile? Like what's he talking about? A Liverpool fan is writing on Daily Mail saying Manchester United is jealous. They don't have relevance. Imagine winning your second league title in how many years, and the first things you want to write about Manchester United. Write about your team. But because they are not relevant in the grand scheme of things, they want to bring attention to themselves. If you ever they bond them well, let them try it. Let them remove that incentive and let's see what will happen.
We both know that.
There's a reason why
we both know Europa. We both know Europa.
There's a reason why they brought Conference League added to Europa.
I agree.
It's money now.
Aside from the money, they tried. It was a bit to make the Europa a bit more watchable and competitive.
Exactly.
Which at the end of the day, still
they're going to
boils
lose
down
money.
to the money. Actually,
It's the money now. It's the money.
Yeah.
Nations League, it's the money. It's all the money now.
So, and that leads to another very controversial thing that has actually never happened before. So we'll just do this quickly before we go. And that is the Spurs guys actually asking the Premier League and then getting the Premier League to actually move their game from Sunday to Friday because of the Manchester United we get 5 days before the Europa final and everything, and then they would be at a disadvantage and all. Do you think that sets a good precedence? Because a lot of coaches have been complaining and it seems like the Premier League hasn't actually really listened to them. But in this case, we see the Premier League actually bucking the trend and actually giving Spurs their request.
As we said, the reason why they've never done it before was a money thing. The fixtures are basically for the broadcasters who want to make money off this thing. And so we've seen it happen in other countries. In France, if PSG has the Champions League game, go and check live scores. If PSG has the Champions League game the week after, they will play on a Friday. I've seen it happen in La Liga too a couple of times too. Because they are trying to help their teams do better. It's just funny that they are doing it now when two of their teams are playing each other. But normally, they should have been helping their teams in Europe. They should have been doing that. But then also, from what you said, I think people have been complaining, but nobody has come up with a solution. So it is easy to complain, but Spurs have come up with a solution. And their solution makes sense. And so the league has taken it. The only issue we have now is multiple coaches will now start coming up with solutions.
They would do the same thing.
It is the league that will now look at it, the ones that they would grant, and the ones that they will not grant. I mean, they have to be. It should not be subjective. There has to be spelled out reasons, or you cannot, because there's a law that there used to be a law. I don't know if it's a law that you cannot play 2 games within 72 hours, some stuff like that. But somebody did and was complaining. I think somebody did and was complaining not too long ago. So they have some.
I think it's Madrid or something like that.
Yeah, Madrid was complaining. So I don't know if it's a written law. I'll probably have to go and check. But then I think if you can help your teams on the continent, why not? Why not?
Do you hold on to?
Yeah, I mean, most people complain, but they don't. I don't think any team has actually gone to go and ask the Premier League for give me some. So yeah, if you ask and they give you, no wala.
Okay, thank you. And now we are going to go on a break. Please don't change that channel and stay with us. And then when we come back from the break, we will now be looking at our American counterparts. Yeah, stay tuned for the second part of this Thanksgiving service. Thank you. And we are back. And when we went on a brief break, I was dragged mercilessly that has won the Bundesliga. So congratulations to company. I still think he's a fraud, but we leave it for next season. This season it was not, the hate watch was not successful, but we'll see it next season. And as I mentioned earlier, we are going to be moving to our American counterparts. And here I have with me my guest pastor, looking all
Looking fresh.
looking all decked out and fresh.
Came to the pulpit.
My pastor, sir. The one that is going to usher us into this
How they
new
push
week.
when they welcome them.
They didn't like it. So we are going to start with you on some of the very hot topics. Lakers in Cancun.
To be honest, you tagged it Thanksgiving service. For me, it was Thanksgiving. I'm grateful. That was probably one of my most successful 8-watch. Them Arsenal.
Vema will be very proud of you.
That Lakers successful 8-watch. I didn't want anything to do with. Well, I think we had an argument on the group one time about LeBron and all that. I think he's a fantastic player. I wish him all the best. But all that vitriol or trying to paint somebody else negatively, but you want to absorb yourself of criticism and all that drama. For me, that's the part I don't like. And that's why I'm not a supporter of the Lakers. I think it's just the old Gigi Redick is fantastic, but you threw somebody else under the bus. The old drama. I did see that Lakers. I did so. Whoa.
All these English.
So
I'm always happy.
So you were overjoyed. So this is actually a Thanksgiving service for you.
All these English just say you are hating. I mean,
Fantastic.
You are hating. What is all this plenty noise?
But let me ask you this question, Eniola. What do you think teams like the Rockets and the Lakers actually have to do to take it up a notch next season?
For Lakers, we all know what the problem was for the Lakers in the postseason. It wasn't anything wrong. It was just we didn't have a center, and JJ had some adjustments to do because even in this Wolves series, we led them in game 1, game 2. in game 3.
I think
game
entering
4,
the fourth quarter. Yeah.
Entering the fourth quarter, we led them all through the way. Just the fact that we didn't have like a recognizable big man to help stem some of the things we were trying to do in there, and then some stupid, costly turnovers were really, really, really bad, especially in game 4. So, Reeves and Doncic made like 2 bonehead plays back to back, and it resulted in Wolves covering up the I think 7 points game. So 7 point lead at that point in time. So just literally 2 adjustments. It wasn't bad. It was just obviously it was a gentleman sweep and to look really bad. But if you watch the games, we were very, very close.
And what about the Rockets?
The Rockets, they just need to get more skin under their teeth, to be honest. They can make a trade if they want to. But right now, they just need to get more skin under their teeth. They need more experience.
Don't you think, like, because there's been a lot of stick for the likes of Jalen Green and him being wildly inconsistent?
Choked out, yeah.
Very inconsistent. Come on, you can't score 8 points in one game. And
you scored 40. You
scored
8.
30-something in one game, 8 in another.
Was it not 40-something?
No, 30-something.
Was 30-something, then he
scored
scored 8, then
No, if
12.
you listen to what this guy said, Charles Barkley, sometimes he rants, sometimes he says, but there was one point that he made. He said, sometimes we look at the average and we say, this person's averaging this series. But go and look at the box score. Go and look at the actual scores. Your average might be 20. But what did you score in those critical games that you were needed? You scored 8.
In one game, if you do like 52 in the next 2 games,
you
8 and 16, it will not come
out and say average of.
So there have been rumors about like them going for a big name star, like maybe a Kevin Durant or a Giannis. Do you think that they need to like maybe trade a Jalen Green and some of these other fringe players to actually get some of those big names?
If they want to get a KD, definitely they will have to trade. They have the upper hand, seen as KD can be viewed as damaged goods, seen as he's jumped from team to team, and the injuries and all these things. But if they do it very well, they can keep some of their core and still get a big name star. It just depends on who.
I think as long as Amen Thompson is not traded, they should.
They can keep Amen.
They can keep Thompson. They won't trade Şengün.
They can keep Şengün. They can keep Van Vliet. In fact, they can keep more
Van
of their
Vliet,
starting. Maybe they'll just have to let go of maybe Tari Eason and maybe Jalen Green and then maybe 1 or 2 draft picks and they are good.
They may not have to let go of Jalen Green. They have enough draft. They have enough draft picks as well.
Yeah, so
they have a lot of draft picks as well. They were not supposed to be here.
They are way ahead of their.
They are way ahead of.
Let's also give flowers to whom we need to give flowers to. The Warriors have actually moved it on to the second round. And then it does feel like it's with Steph Curry, the team can actually go all the way. So I do want to start with you. Like with Steph Curry fully fit and firing, do you think like the Warriors can go all the way and actually win the NBA Finals this year?
Yeah, they can. And most people think I hate the Warriors. I don't know where that comes from. I just don't.
Yeah, Lakers fan. That's
No, I mean, Lakers
LeBron fan.
I don't hate the Warriors, but Warriors fans feel like they need to hate the Warriors. I mean, that all fine and good. It's good for them. But like I mentioned, beginning of the season when they made that trade when they got rid of Clay and brought in Buddy Hield, I mentioned that the offense is what helps the Warriors. That moving offense really helps. Most teams are not conditioned enough to move with them, to run around with them. That's why the Lakers always got enough joy when they were playing the Warriors because they had guys who could run around with Steph all across. AD could do it as well, come and patrol the perimeter, run back inside and block what they were trying to do. So it was always very easy to catch them on the fast break. The Wolves, I don't think the Wolves are a very well-conditioned team. If you look at how the team is, you have Gobert, very long, leggy man. You have Nasrid near, can play small ball with them. Mike Conley is old, he can't run around with those guys. You have Dante DiVincenzo, he's not really a great defensive guy like that. Maybe J.D. McDaniels and Nikhil Alexander-Walker. Those guys can come in. But at the same time, you have to be offensively good while being defensively astute. So it can be difficult when you're trying to do that. But all the Warriors just need to do is run around and get open space for threes. And
do you think like we don't also give enough credit to the Warriors' defense itself?
Their defense is also very good because they defend as a collective, right? They have their anchor in Draymond Green. They know how to hide Steph in that defensive bubble because Steph doesn't need to guard the best player or the best point guard on the offensive end coming at him for like 30-something minutes per night. So they know how to hide that as well. And because the offense is always moving, by the time the defender is while I have the ball, I'm already tired because I've chased Steph for like maybe 24 seconds on one possession. So it works very well for them.
Okay, and then we were talking about like KD needing to make like a move this offseason, and there's some big names, but there's a name I want to bring out here. Do you think Giannis finally needs to leave the box? Let me just paint a picture. Past 3 seasons, they've gone out in the first round, right? they don't necessarily have those assets anymore that they can say, okay, they want to make a splash to help him out in the box, right? And it feels like for all people have been saying about the Dame and Giannis combo, it seems not to still be clicking. So my question is, do you think Giannis actually needs a move out of Milwaukee, or do you think he can still stay one more season? And then he has, the last thing is he has Doc Rivers. And the other Lakers guy, what's that his name?
To be honest,
Davinam.
To be honest, it's a tricky one for me because I'm a Giannis fan. I supported the Bucks when they won the championship 2022. My concern is more around Doc. Sometimes I can't trust Doc in some of those games where you need to make certain decisions that and live or die with it.
Like, look at how long it took him to remove Kuzma from the starting lineup.
Like, live or die with the decision. So it's Doc sometimes I can't trust. When it comes to Giannis, there's a part of me that feels like he needs to ride it out. Another part of me feels he needs to take advantage and just go to another market because that team will struggle to improve. I think they made a mistake when they and I think I mentioned it maybe the first or second time I came on the show. I think they made a mistake when they traded Drew Holiday. They should have traded Middleton. Middleton had reached his, you know when you pass your shelf life. So there's nothing more that can come. And then he started picking up all these little injuries. He's out for 2 weeks. He comes back, he's struggling to get his form. And then he has one fantastic or two fantastic games, which you think he's back, but then he goes again. They should have traded Middleton and not Drew Holiday. I think that's where their problem started. Because since then, they've not been consistent. Go and look at it now. That's when they've not won anything since then. They've not been relevant since then.
They won
in the regular season.
They won the in-season tournament.
Lakers will win where they did.
Very good question.
So I think they've struggled since, and there are holes in the roster. There's so many holes. I'm sure Eniola can pick it apart for you. Me, I just look at it overview. I'm like, come on, man.
No, do you think Giannis actually needs that move this offseason? Because I was watching this thing just yesterday, and then Rachel Nicole was saying that she thinks like Giannis should ride it out, and then she gave some very solid reasons, and one of those reasons are, okay, so if you're trading Giannis for draft compensation, draft picks and all that, you cannot guarantee that in the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years that you're going to remain competitive. And then she gave examples of certain teams that have traded their main guys, and then it takes them like another 6, 7 years for them to actually be competitive. So do you think Giannis should actually ride it out?
But her own point is not for Giannis' benefit, it's for the team's benefit.
For the team's benefit.
Yes.
Yeah, so if
not for Giannis' benefit.
Yeah, so what does Giannis gain for riding it out? I mean, he could go next season now and tear his ACL.
Yeah.
What does that do for my long term? I just stay here and then I'm pretty much damaged goods. So and the way he plays, he requires a lot of athleticism to do what he does.
Yeah.
So if Giannis wants to go, he needs to figure out what's best for him. What is my motivation to be in this league? Do I just want to be a one-team guy, score as many points, lead all the statistical categories? I have my championship already, I'm good. Or do I want to be great? Do I want to be should they start calling my name in the top 10 when they call guys? Do I want to be next to Jordan? Do I want, these are things you need to do. When you figure that out, you now need to look at the landscape of the NBA and the teams you want to go to.
There have been a couple of teams.
Which team?
Because you mentioned the team earlier that I don't think if
the Californian team.
You mentioned Houston.
It doesn't fit well.
It doesn't fit well in Houston.
You need a team
those are the guys that can literally afford him right now.
Yeah, you need a team that will space the floor. That's why people keep saying you should go to the Warriors, and you need a team that will space the floor for you so that you can have enough time to stride and get all
and take advantage
of it. So whoever that is, he needs to sort that one out by himself. But obviously, the team would not trade their main star now. I wouldn't want to trade this guy. Nobody would want to go back into the hole of irrelevancy that we're in before we got this guy. But at the same time, I mean, you need to try and structure your draft. If at a point in time you feel like what was the reason we made this decision to sack Adrian Griffin and bring in Doc Rivers? Was that for Giannis or was that for us? I don't think Giannis approved of that deal. I don't know.
Yeah, but
a lot of people have said
some said he approved
that
Budenholzer leaving. and
If he
buildings are
approved,
getting
if he
improved-
approved that
replaced.
from that standpoint,
which I think was a problem too.
if from
for
that
them.
standpoint, then he should write it out because it was his stupid decisions that brought
Yeah,
them
they
to where
should
they are
not
right
have.
now.
They should.
write it out.
But so the
No,
reports
no.
were a bit
No.
on two sides. Some people were saying that he was not fully focused because there was, I think there was a death in the family. That's my body knows that, and I was
Okay.
not fully.
No,
committed.
I understand.
yeah.
I understand
There
that,
were
but
some
if
issues.
Adrian Griffin was not doing bad at all, if it was his call to let go of, he wants to let go of Adrian Griffin, are you good with it?
Yeah.
I'm good with it. You have okay.
I
you got
remember.
Dr. Rivers for
I
you.
didn't like that old Dr. Rivers. He was a consultant for them,
Yes.
and then come on, man.
I
Who does
I
that?
told him when it happened that it wasn't going to work. He was arguing with me, but
So
I mean,
let's-
Wait, you thought it was going to work?
No. So I wanted to give Doc Rivers the benefit of
I
that.
beg,
There's
I
always
beg.
room
Dog
to
don't
give
show
people
your
the
hand.
benefit
Dog
of
don't show your
that.
hand for clippers.
not someone that's
He
been
showed
coaching
his
for
hand in the
20
clip.
plus years. I will give him benefit of the doubt.
Not today.
It's not
Dog
So-
don't show your hand. I
So
beg.
let me now ask. Aside from Giannis, like there are some other notable names like Miles Turner, like KD, like people are even calling for the Suns to trade Devin Booker to request a trade out of the Suns. Which player do you see in a particular situation and you think, okay, this player might need to move?
Miles Turner. I want Miles Turner to come to the Lakers.
See the reason you stated.
Lakers.
And that's my campaign for Miles Turner.
Wolves in 5. No longer Lakers in 5.
Put it thumbs up.
What about you?
No, but if I get
I
Miles
don't-
Turner, it's game over
I
for
don't-
you guys. It's game over.
For
Like,
Miles Turner, I
Booker,
don't.
do you think a Booker? Do you think a...
Yeah, but the thing is, for likes of Devin Booker,
like people are saying the Rockets should actually...
it's back to what Eniola was saying for Giannis. Devin Booker himself needs to look in the mirror and say, what do I want for my career? Do I want to stay here, ride it out, or do I want to start elsewhere? Because if the team decides to trade him, that means they are ready to
rebuild,
reset.
starting again.
Because KD will leave, they will trade him,
May not
and
leave
that
by
may
Bill.
force them. That may force them to escape that mad contract they signed
gave
with
Bill.
Bradley Beal.
But I think Bill still has... It's still like...
He still has his no trade clause now.
Yes,
till,
but-
it's
but
till the end of this season.
it's the end of this season.
End of the next season.
Next season. That's what I'm saying. So if for instance they decide to trade Booker, that means that Bill himself might look at, man, there's nothing else here. Let me just leave, or enjoy his money.
Because
and
I don't
and
think
just-
Bill is getting a proper contract after that
Yeah,
one. I'm
nobody's gonna cough up that money for him.
Now
So,
let's move on to something that has caused a lot of arguments this period. The Celtics living and dying by the 3.
3 ball.
I don't.
I have my
Like I
reservations.
said on the group. Why are people complaining? This is what the NBA has become. This is what they credit someone, Steph,
Yeah.
the great guy that changed the NBA, made the 3-point line relevant, did all of this. Now you're complaining that one team is predicating their entire offense around that. Why? Why are you complaining?
Because it feels
This is
like
the monster you made.
It does feel like you could have made adjustments. I think in the third quarter we saw one very crazy start of them taking about 20
20
field goal
shots,
attempts and
20
field
goal
19
attempts,
out
19
of the
19
20
threes.
I understand.
was 3.
I understand, right? But going back to my point, this is the monster you made, and we've won a championship playing this way. Why should I change?
True.
Why?
They can argue.
Give me one reason why.
Me, I'm just speaking as I'm not a Celtics fan. I stopped following them when Ime Udoka left. I mentioned that in the group.
Yeah.
For me, I don't like it for the NBA. I'm an average NBA fan. I don't like it for the NBA.
That say they don't like it.
No, and I'll tell you why I don't like it for the NBA. One of the things that distinguishes the average person from an NBA player, an actual NBA player, is athleticism. Being able to attack the paint. There's a guy called Little Shooter on IG. That guy can shoot threes like mad.
He can't play in the
That guy
NBA.
he can't play in the NBA because it's not physical enough. That's what I want to see. I want to
he
see.
doesn't even
I want
go for-
somebody to take the ball to the rack, take it to the hole, and stuff it on somebody. Dunk on anybody.
Anthony Edwards style.
Yes, or step back, take the 3. Next time I come, I'm not stepping back. I'm going to drive to the paint.
Or show
I'll
some skills or
you
something.
commit the foul. Like when I see the issue is if I see teams like the Warriors doing it, that's fine.
Why is it fine for the Warriors?
No, let me tell you why. So the type of players you've acquired, that's the. But when I see let me land. Let me land. But when I see people who are the physical specimen that the NBA prides themselves in, the Jalen Browns, the Jason Tatums, why are you stepping back? Why can't you drive the ball to the paint? You're 6'6", 6'9", you're settling for jumpers. You're doing step back threes. You can't drive the ball to the paint. You can't. Did you see the other stats? Do you know that the Celtics did not have any free throw in that third quarter. How can you play a whole quarter, no free throw? What are you doing now? Come on, man.
So let me.
Like, that means, I know what that means. That means you let the other team off the hook. You didn't make them commit any fouls. You didn't put them under any pressure. Sometimes we've seen games change because people committed fouls. Yeah.
Just going to
committed a foul
going to
because
the
they kept
free throw
attacking
line.
them. How did LeBron feast? I'll attack you multiple times. You commit a foul. At some point, you will not be able to foul maybe again because you don't want to foul out. But no, I'll just be shooting threes. Rainbow threes. So now, no wahala now.
Let's look at it.
Me, I don't like it.
Okay,
let's
so
look
go
at
ahead.
this.
So he doesn't
disgusting.
like it.
Let's look at it from this.
You don't mind.
I don't guess why people are complaining. Me, I don't like the Celtics. But I don't know why people are complaining. But let's look at it from this perspective, right? I understand what you're saying. But where I draw a line is, don't say it's fine if the Warriors are doing it. No. It's not fine if the Warriors are
let
doing
me
it.
rephrase. Let me rephrase. The kind of players they've acquired, if that's how they want to play, because they don't have.
So I
You
get his
remember,
point.
they don't
I
want
get
to play
his
the
point.
Kumingas
when
and
the
stuff.
Warriors were doing a lot of this, they had the Splash Brothers.
If you are
Yes,
saying,
no. And those guys are not.
And those
wait,
guys
but
were
wait,
the
Eniola,
prime-
do I
you
know
know,
those guys were the
Steph,
prime shooters
how many times
of
do we see
their
Steph
life.
drive the ball to the
Do I
basket?
The prime
Do I
shooters
not-
of their life.
do I not want to be successful as a franchise? True. If I want to be successful as a franchise, I see a franchise that has won 4 championships doing this. Why shouldn't I?
But my
bother
point is,
game
but
against
his
that?
point is, you don't have those assets. For example,
Says
you
who?
cannot compare a
I've been-
Jason. Wait, hold on.
Hold on,
You
hold on.
cannot compare
Hold on,
a
hold on.
Jason Tatum
Hold on.
and a
In
Jalen
terms
Brown
of-
to a prime Steph and
I'm
Clay
not doing that.
in their prime.
I'm not doing that. But in terms of shooting,
So they could play it that
No,
way.
his own-
in terms of shooting
Eniola's
ability,
argument is, yeah.
ability to shoot the ball.
Yeah.
Are those guys not capable of shooting the ball?
They're capable of shooting the ball.
They can space
No,
the
but
floor.
Eniola, I want to ask Eniola. So Eniola, if you have Jason Tatum or Jalen Brown in the Lakers and they will go a whole quarter settling for 3-point
You are-
shots,
you are that-
what are you going? No, I'm
Me,
asking.
you're
Let me ask question now.
not getting my point.
Let me ask my question.
Me,
now.
I'm with you. I'm with you on everything you are saying. I agree 100%. 100%. My own stance is, don't complain about it. This is the most, like, this is, you can't create, it's like, say, I want to raise a werewolf. And then one day the werewolf comes out and bites me my hand off. I'm saying, werewolf, no, why are you biting my hand off? You raised the werewolf to do what? Like, people want to be successful in the NBA. The Warriors right now, the Warriors are doing the same thing. They are spacing the floor, they are running around. So tomorrow now, if the Rockets want to run around the pitch, run around the court, and
but
shoot
wait, oh.
open threes.
But wait.
Will anybody complain and say, no, why they run around shooting open threes?
So your point is basically
Don't complain.
Don't complain.
That's
about
my
it.
point. Don't complain.
You created this monster.
Don't
Don't
enjoy it.
complain
But
about
who
it.
created?
Enjoy
You keep
it.
saying you. Who is
The fans that said, let's give
analytics?
Analytics guys. Advanced stats guys.
nerd analytics. They are the ones that did all this. And the people that said greatest of all time, greatest shooter of all time, greatest team of life.
So let's move on from the Celtics now to another Eastern team, and that is the Cavs. We saw them pull back a game yesterday with their full squad. Because
Another agenda.
The previous 2 games they played, they were without Mobley, they were without Garland, and I think this DeAndre Hunter too.
Hunter as well.
But as of yesterday, they played with their full squad, and then we actually see them get a game
Win a
back.
game.
Do you actually think like Pacers still has their number, or do you think like the Cavs would mount a comeback?
Pacers
and
just
win?
need to win a game, right? And I told this to someone I was having a conversation when the Lakers and Wolves were playing. When it was 1-1, when it was 1-1 and it was 2-1-1, that was 2 games. I told the guy, Lakers need to win a game in Minnesota. For one reason only, you need to be able to let that team know that we can take a game in your house. If I defend home court and I've already taken one game off you, there's nothing you can tell me. As in, from a mentality standpoint, I can come into your house, silence your crowd, and leave with a W. So all they need, if Pacers are serious, all they need to do is win
Is the next game?
the next game.
Is the next game that
Just
you
win
need
the
to
next game.
If you don't win that next,
If you don't win that
you're in
next game,
trouble.
it's over
I think
for
it's over. I think they'll be in.
Because I can now, because I've taken one game off you already in your house. If I take the second game in your house,
We're even. It's
we
back
are
to.
even.
It's
I'm
back
going
to
back to my own
our
house to defend my
advantage.
house.
But do you
And I'll take it.
think? But do you think the injuries actually did play a factor in
So
this?
for based on what we've seen so far, and they played with a full complement of team, and they won convincingly.
Yes.
So I mean, let's see what the next game brings.
Okay, so let me just quickly do this. Your prediction: would the Knicks beat the Celtics, or will the Celtics beat the Knicks? Just a quick one.
Okay,
Knicks?
I'll go with the Celtics.
You still go with the
just
Celtics to win.
just because the Knicks are fruity niggas, I'll go with the Celtics.
What do you think, Knicks or Celtics?
I think it's the Celtics, but if the Knicks win the next game, it's done.
Okay.
I'll go with the Celtics.
You go with
But
the
it's
Celtics.
reverse jinx.
Cavs, Pacers.
I'll go with the Pacers because I want to have agenda against Cavs.
I'm going with the Cavs.
Cavs, Pacers, Cavs. You go
Cavs.
with the Cavs. And then we've had a couple of bombshells in the NFL. We had Sanders going in the 5th round, but who would have thought George Pickens would get traded to the Cowboys? Now the question is, I'm hearing Cowboys fans, and I'm hearing some guys even running the analytics that the Cowboys are going to be like top 3, top 4 offense, and that they're going to threat.
We hear it all the time.
They will go forward.
We hear it all the time.
So what do you think? Do
blessed year.
you think this actually makes the Cowboys like some form of serious contenders getting George Pickens?
Doesn't. They're still struggling to be the second best team in their own division. The Eagles, the defending champions, are the best in the NFC East, and they will be the best. In fact, they have the better wide receiver duo, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
Right now, we cannot even say if.
So you think
If-
CD
no,
Lamb?
wait,
So
wait,
you
CD Lamb-
think
wait.
CD Lamb and this guy will not?
I think
Can
better
you-
than the Commanders.
Wait, they're not really better because remember, McLaurin and Debo Samuel. Of course, Debo Samuel is coming off injury, so we can't say what he will be coming back. But it's still a toss-up between who is the better wide receiver. Is it McLaurin and Debo Samuel or CD Lamb and George Pickens?
Pickens is not that good, not even that good of a receiver. He's just very athletic.
So athleticism, obviously,
So I think-
athleticism always
Yeah,
plays
but-
sometimes.
But his
So, but
catch,
you
his catch game is on point. I just think
No,
like
but-
he has
but
a
in terms
lot
of-
of things he doesn't work on.
in terms of how you can use players, you know how they use Debo Samuel in the
Yep,
49ers.
yep.
If you deploy him that same way, running back threat, can catch the ball in the
catch the ball in the
backfield,
backfield,
can catch it up,
Catch
come
and
on,
run,
man.
catch after run,
catch after,
receive, all those things,
yards
yeah.
after catch, all those things. So right now they don't even have the best wide receiver duo in the NFC East. They are still competing with the Commanders to be the second best team, which means that they are not favorites to enter the playoffs.
And you're of the same opinion.
No, it's
So
the
the Cowboys can't do
Yeah,
anything.
it doesn't even rate
They
them at all.
can't do anything at all.
No, unless they fix their issues from last season.
So you guys
running
are
game,
still most likely
backfield
going
and
to
all those
pick
things, no.
Eagles and the Commanders over
Yes,
the
pick the
Cowboys.
The Eagles and the Commanders.
100%.
And yes, and that's it from us guys, and it was a fantastic Thanksgiving service. We had our brother here thanking God that the Lakers have gone to Cancun.
We are waiting for the rest that
Our
will join us
brother
in
here
that Cancun. Don't
is
worry.
he's waiting for the Warriors.
We have our placard.
Honestly waiting for the Warriors.
waiting for
We
the
have our
to join him.
placard.
To join him.
Welcome to Cancun.
We had some of us here that were celebrating that a trophyless team is going trophyless again.
Yes.
And they are finishing second. We are all going to be in the Champions League together by the special
we're
grace
all
of
going
God.
to be there.
If Warriors don't make it to the finals, I'll come back with my full scar shift.
They've insulted him
welcome-
enough for his full cash sheet.
Welcome to Cancun.
And so thank you guys for staying with us for the whole show, and then we'll love to see you same time next week. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you.